Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Before we do that, I want to talk about the potential of UConn moving to the Big 12 because it seems like that has,
I hate
over
it.
the course of the last 10 days to 2 weeks, it's kind of taken on some steam and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. So Fanta, before I go on my rant, because I got a rant about it, I'll let you guys go and say what you got to say about it. I guess the likelihood that it happens and what would it mean if it did?
Well, we're a basketball podcast. And a year ago, if you had mentioned this, it would have been dismissed immediately. But it's amazing because it wouldn't have been brought up a year ago. What a difference, and this is our world, a 6-7 football season and an appearance in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. What a difference that makes. Because honestly, that's what has led to the discussions progressing and potentially becoming reality. When Brett Yormark took over as Big 12 commissioner, he held media availabilities with different national media and reporters who would be interested in speaking with him. And I actually spent a half hour talking to him on the phone. And I said to him, what's your vision to do something with this league that hasn't been done? And he was very clear at the top of the answer. And he said, I want to get into the New York market. I want to get into the metropolitan area. And I said, well, how do you do that? I said, do you play games at the Garden? Do you play a doubleheader at the Garden? You've got Kansas City as your conference tournament. And he wouldn't let on of how exactly he planned to do it. But this is exactly how you would plan to do it. You bring in a UConn who, even though it's in Connecticut, folks, it's in when they go to Madison Square Garden, they fill the building. It's an additional home. All of that area, easy to access by train. The point is they own that part of the country as a brand. This is a football-powered move. Don't let it be confused with anything that people say. When the narrative gets brought up that all sports are being considered or that it's a move for everybody, if they go to the Big 12, look, there's not another goal in place at the top of the chart than to parlay your 6-7 football season with Jim Mora, who did a very nice job in year one, and a Myrtle Beach Bowl appearance, parlay that into a league where, yes, it just so happens to also be the best men's basketball conference over the last 5 years. And your basketball program will go in there and join the successful level. You're not going to have the same buzz around Connecticut and Oklahoma State or Connecticut and Iowa State that you would with Connecticut and Villanova and Connecticut and St. John's now. But guys, we knew this. That's the amazing thing about it. UConn has sold their soul to progress in football because they've got this vision for football. And it just goes to show you that when you're chasing that golden goose, if you will, when you're chasing that, you never stop being in love with that ultimate goal. This is a philosophical thing, and the philosophy is rooted in one thing: dollars. If UConn makes the move to the Big 12, it is because of football and because football possesses more money.
That last sentence is the most important one because the UConn athletic department operates at a very large deficit. They need that paycheck. Right. That's something that would allow them to function at a level that the program or the athletic department wants to be able to function at. They're broke.
Didn't they just make a massive investment in their football complex too, not too long ago?
Yeah, they did, but they're broke. The stadium there sucks. It's in East Hartford. It's not close to the campus, and
nothing is close to that campus.
Nothing is close to that campus. Yeah, I think the thing that people kind of fall in love with is they made that one BCS bowl, and I think it was 2008, maybe, when they played Oklahoma and got smacked by Oklahoma. They were like 8-4 in the Big East Tri-Champs, and they were outgained on the entire season in terms of yards, but they somehow managed
2011 Fiesta Bowl. 2011.
Yeah, they managed to, like, because of some tiebreakers, they were able to sneak their way into a Fiesta Bowl, and that was like the end of a 4-year run where they were actually pretty good. In like Big East standards. So that's what kind of led to the move to the American. But I think it's also important to remember like what happened when they went to the American, right? One, the American turned into like one of the worst basketball conferences in America and a horrible football conference too. The UConn basketball program made it to, after that, they won the title in 2014, which was as fluky as any title we've ever seen. After that, they made one of the next 6 NCAA tournaments, right? They drove their best product into the ground, chasing football glory that is probably never going to come. You're the University.
It's not going to come. It's not.
You're not Florida. You're not Tennessee. You're not Texas. You're never going to, like, you're chasing mediocrity in football, and you're sacrificing what may be the best basketball program in the world. And I also think it's important to say this, right? Big East basketball this season is, for my money, right? And I say this as somebody with a Big East bias and a very clear Big East bias, is about as appealing and enticing and as exciting as it's been since like 2011, since that year when they had 3 teams that were 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament, right? UConn didn't come back to the Big East and save Big East basketball. That's not what happened here. Right? Yes, they won a national title. Yes, they're back to being one of the most prominent programs, this, that, and the third. The Big East saved UConn basketball, because if UConn stayed in the American, they wouldn't be at this level, right? No. If there wasn't some inkling that they were going to make it back to the Big East, they wouldn't have been able to hire Dan Hurley when Pitt and the ACC was calling for more money, for the record. They wouldn't have been able to go out and land some of the recruits that they're landing. You think Stephen Castle is going to a program in the American that's sitting in the middle of the conference, right? Like, people forget that in Dan Hurley's first year in the American, they went 6-12. They had the same record as SMU. They were behind Tulsa. They were behind South Florida. They were behind Temple. They were behind UCF, right? The only teams that were worse than them in that league were East Carolina and Tulane. They were a very bad basketball program at that point. The reason why they are back, the reason why they are relevant, the reason why UConn is back at a point where they can win national titles is because the Big East extended a hand and said, hey, look, you know what? No hard feelings. You can come on home. Now what they're doing is they're flirting with making another run at getting a paycheck. And I get it. The money trumps all, and you need money, and the athletic department is broke, whatever. I think that you would be making a much smarter decision, a much more loyal decision, thanking the people that brought you back to prominence by saying, you know what, we're going to follow like the Villanova model. We're going to send our football program, which is never going to be something that's good, to the FCS ranks. We're going to dominate there. We're going to have success there. We're going to let the diehards that love UConn football be able to go out and actually watch them win games, right? And we're going to stay in the Big East, and we're going to stay home, and we're going to do what we do best, instead of chasing the glory and sending all of our athletes and all of our players to places like Lubbock, to places like Provo, Utah in the middle of the week, to places all over different parts of the country, all like just the idea that you're going to go through all of this travel just to chase the money from a conference who, by the way, is losing their 2 biggest programs and their 2 biggest brands in Texas and Oklahoma because they don't trust that conference is going to be able to stick together. It feels like you're chasing a paycheck to go to a league that is on just as unstable ground as the Big East was in 2011, that first wave of conference realignment was going. You're just going there and waiting for everybody else to jump ship. If Texas and Oklahoma don't want to be there, why is UConn going? Why are you associating yourselves with such powerhouse football programs like the University of Central Florida and be like, come on, man. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. I think that you would be ruining the best thing that ever happened to the program in terms of the Big East welcoming you back when they didn't have to. And it seems like an awful decision to chase a bag that like 10% of the UConn alumni base actually wants.
Funny that they claim to be the basketball capital of the world, and then they put basketball on the back burner.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.
Seems a little
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I understand football. Quick story. I thought it was funny where you said, "Whoa, how the Myrtle Beach Bowl changes things." I was playing blackjack with Dabo one time, who, by the way, is worth $100 million. He's playing $5 hands besides me, and he's like, he goes, "Man, I'd love to come down to the Bahamas more. That's where we were at." And he goes, I was like, "Well, they do have a bowl down here." He goes, "Well, if I play in that bowl, I'm getting fired." Meanwhile, UConn thinks they make the Myrtle Beach Bowl and they should jump ship to the Big 12, which is hilarious. I understand the dollars and the cents. You would lose a lot of your mystique. You really would. And to kind of go along with your point, Rob, you say UConn operates at a deficit. I think every school operates at a deficit. Every school. Every school operates at a deficit. It's a matter of how you manage that deficit or how you make it look like a deficit. I think it would be a bad move. I think there's a lot of excitement around UConn being in the Big East. It's revived that basketball program. Why they're chasing football money, I understand money is money, but you're taking away what is literally magic in the Northeast, and that is the Big East. So I would be really disappointed to see it happen. I think them in the Big East is good for the Big East. It's a reciprocal relationship there. The Big East certainly benefits from it. However, if they do go, how much does it? I think this is a bigger loss for UConn than it would be the Big East, because the Big East has so many other things going right now. There's a lot going on in the Big East that are positive. It'd be a win for the pocketbook. It'd be a loss in our heart. That'd be for sure. And I'm not doubting that they'll do it because they've already done it by going to the American. So there's precedent there. So that it just feels gross.
You know what the worst part about it is?
That's the best way I can describe it. It just feels gross.
You know what the worst part about it is, T.O.? It's UConn is considering blowing up the best thing that ever happened to them 3 years after they made it back, 3 years after they were able to reinvigorate a fan base that had, frankly, gone by the wayside, right? Like, you weren't selling out Gamble Pavilion when you were 14 and 18 in the American. You weren't having people stay up to watch you play on the road to go to Tulsa. I don't think there are going to be people that stay up to watch UConn play on the road if they're going to like BYU or playing at Central Florida or playing at Texas Tech or playing at some of these other programs. But the worst part about it is you are risking all of this. You are risking alienating people, and you're not even the first call. You're not even the first call, right? You are the backup option. This is like the people that sat there waiting for like the prom dates to show up, and it's like you're the third one on the list. It's like, well, first he has to say no, and then he has to say no, and then he has to say no, and then maybe I'm gonna have a chance to actually get in on that. It's just like, you're not. They want Arizona, they want Arizona State, they want Utah, and they want Colorado. You are way down on that list, and you are sitting here waiting. I hate it.
What I will say, it's Brett Yormark. That's the commission. he has said in the past that he thinks basketball is an underrated revenue generator. He has said that. So obviously it's a huge basketball move for them as well. It's just, well, we'll let you drag your Myrtle Beach football program with
I mean, you have to, if you're the Big 12 commissioner, you have to say that. Like you don't have an option. Like, yeah, you just lost
but nobody else
football
has said
programs
it.
to the
Nobody
SEC.
else has
Like
said
you
it.
got to say it.
But that's why you go after some of the schools you went after. It's because you're putting basketball at the forefront as far as some of them. Why would they go after UConn? Why would they go after UConn?
I mean, getting Cincinnati, they've seen Cincinnati do what they've done on the football field. Look at the current state of Cincinnati basketball.
Yeah, I mean, T.O., why would the Big 12 go after UConn for the same reason that the Big 10 went after Rutgers?
Yeah. Well, why did the Big 12 go? Why did the Big 12 go after UCF? Because UCF made it to a New Year's Day bowl and showed what could happen down in Central Florida in a big market. I looked up two things, okay, while we were talking through this. 2011 Fiesta Bowl, guys. Went back on the Wikipedia page for the bowl game. You'll love this. Pre-game coverage focused on Oklahoma's struggles in past BCS games. Oklahoma won the game 48-20. They didn't struggle on this day. As well as Connecticut's difficulties in selling their designated ticket allotment from the Fiesta Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They made a BCS bowl game, and they struggled to sell their ticket allotment for one of the biggest football games of the entire year. And here's the other thing. When UConn came back, guys, I can't tell you how many of the coaches in the Northeast corridor were immediately saying, one coach in particular who said, yeah, I was beating UConn almost every time. I mean, if you put together 10 kids, 10 high school kids, and it's different lately with the portal and whatnot. If you put up 10 high school kids, I was beating UConn 8 or 9 times. Seriously, that's when they were in the American. He said, now going up against them, I'm 0 for 10. I can't. When they came back to the Big East, I'm 0 for 10 when they came back to the league. So the recruiting angle to this and where kids want to play. Like these players' families love going down to Villanova, going down to Georgetown, going to Seton Hall. It's easy. Think these people want to hop on planes and go to Stillwater?
No.
Do you know how hard it is to get to Manhattan, Kansas? I went from the East Coast to Manhattan, Kansas. Do you know how hard it is? Listen to what I had to do to get to Manhattan, Kansas, right? I had to fly to Philadelphia, or I had to drive to Philadelphia. I had to take a flight from Philadelphia to Chicago. I had to have a layover in Chicago. I had to fly from Chicago to Kansas City. I had to sit there in Kansas City, and I had to drive 2.5 hours from Kansas City to Manhattan, Kansas. You know where they want to go? They want to go to Manhattan, New York City. UConn fans don't want to go to Manhattan, Kansas. Stay home. Stay where you love, stay where you want it, stay where you need it. All right. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field 68 content.